everybody. Welcome to this episode of This Golf Fans Man. I am Bobby Cool. Oh, Daddy Slick Breeze.
Nice. I really like that one.
Do you like that?
Yeah, you switch it up.
Yeah, and I have
It's like a roller coaster.
Robert, 31 degrees McCall.
Yeah, it's really cold, man.
31 degrees.
Yeah. My watch says 32 now. It's way warmer.
Oh, nice. Mine says 31. I need to come over there where you're at. 30.
It's way better over here.
So Eric McCabe is out on assignment. We are not allowed to say where, but he's out doing some course design work. He left this morning to fly out to. It's
not Emporia.
It's not Emporia. Yeah, he didn't fly from Emporia to Emporia.
Tell you that.
Or he would have to fly out of Kansas City to Emporia. Anyway, I asked him, I said, hey, you want us to talk about where you're going? He's like, well, this is kind of like a figure out if there's a possibility where he's going. He says, when I come back, he'll know more and he'll talk about it on the next show. So, but we wish Eric a safe flight and that he finds out some good stuff. But you have me and Robert McCall answering questions.
Yeah.
Just a real quick update on what's going on. It's cold, not much disc golf going on.
I played on Saturday for Hobson Heisers.
Oh, Hobson Heisers.
Mm-hmm.
Did that go good?
Yeah. My partner and I played with Yancey. We ended up tying for the win with Gus and Isaiah.
Oh, wow.
Isaiah's good.
Yeah,
Don't know if you knew that. He's pretty solid. But I won the CTP, so I got a little bit of money.
Nice.
All right.
Did you go to Radius?
I threw the bet disc.
Oh, nice. Did you go to Radius afterward?
No, we had leftovers at home. So we ate there. I know.
Boring.
Come on.
I did no disc golfing, but what I did do is I did some practicing of photography because I have tasked myself with becoming a better photographer so I can bring us back more and better photography when I travel. I was practicing something called long exposure where you have a long shutter speed of about a half second to a full second and made some really cool effects with water. You can go see what I'm doing and working on at youtube.com/Uncle Bobby Jr. That's Uncle Bobby Jr. And check that out. Have fun with us.
That one waterfall picture you were showing was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think the next thing I'm going to do is a train with the lights. Tonight I'm going to go out.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, because it's basically you're opening the shutter for a longer time so it captures more motion. Mm-hmm. And I've seen some people do it with a train, so I want to try that with a train. Mm-hmm. And Alyssa actually commented and said sunsets and sunrises are nice. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then somebody else mentioned something about doing light painting, and I'm going to try that as well.
Yeah. So, I did have one question or just one suggestion. When you go to the train tracks to do that, make sure you set your camera up not on the tracks.
Oh, thanks.
That's just a pro tip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't see that in any of the YouTube tutorials I watched, so I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm here to help.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
You think I should make my own tutorials about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I'll wait till you make them, and then I'll watch yours and learn.
I have lots of photography.
All right, we've got a handful of speak pipe questions and quite a few on the Google Forms. So what do you say we jump right into it, Robert?
Yeah, let's get after it.
All right, remember, guys, you can go to discgolfanswerman.com, submit your disc golf questions. We will try to get on the air. We do appreciate your patience as we work through some of these questions. Try not to send timely questions or ones that are time sensitive, as you never know when we're going to get to them. All right, let's see. This one is from Coleslaw.
Coleslaw?
Yeah.
Yeah. All one word. There we go.
That, right? Yep. You're looking right at it.
It was not malachi.
Yeah, it was not malachi.
We laughed about that for so long at home afterwards.
That was awesome.
It's fantastic.
All right. So he says, hey, guys, all is well. Well, he says, it could be a she. Hey, guys, hope all is well. Thanks for all the content and time you guys put in. It's much appreciated. Since disc runs play a big role in how the disc acts, has ZD thought about adding a description of the run of individual discs on the online store? I think a lot of people don't like buying something when they don't know exactly what they're getting, so this could ease their minds and attract more customers. I realize this would probably be hard to do, but would like to know your thoughts.
Fair question. And I know that there are some places or some companies that do something sort of along those lines. I would say the reason that we don't is that our goal is for our discs to be as consistent as possible. Now, we are putting plastic into a mold, and so it's a very imperfect process. It's more of an art than a science, but we're trying to make as much of it scientific as we can. At the end of the day, discs are going, even if they're intended to run exactly the same, they're going to vary just a little bit, but we hope that that's within kind of an acceptable margin, so that we wouldn't have to update you and say these defenders fly different than these defenders fly different than these defenders. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea necessarily, but I do think we're pretty close to where it's not super different run to run to run right now. Maybe you disagree, but I don't know.
You're the expert on that type of stuff.
Am I the expert?
I wasn't paying attention when you said, so that was my way of saying. Yes, next is a question from our good old guy, Malachi.
Yeah, we didn't even make it up. It's awesome.
This is from rules, or about rules. Here in Alabama, we have a course with a pin position on an elevated position, so that brings me to my question.
Okay, great.
If my disc were to land on top of that basket, it is above 2 meters. If enforced, is a 2 meter stroke.
Yes,
I heard. I had this.
We had this question.
Yeah.
It is not a 2 meter, but I don't remember the rationale behind it, to tell you the truth. I just remember it not being 2 meter enforceable.
All right, let's head on to Randall. He asks, just want to let you guys know, I love what you do for disc golf and how you represent disc golf. With that being said, I'm wanting to switch my bag to an all DD bag. Yes.
Come on.
I wish I could put a meme in there of the from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
the guy, yes. DD bag, and I use a Yeti Pro putter and was curious on your recommendations on a putter close to that style in your lineup. Thanks, and always keep it real.
So Yetis are interesting in that all of them are concave. So they all do this little.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, across the middle. It's a little bit grippier plastic, so I would definitely recommend finding something in the classic blend. As far as the stability of the disc, I think a Warden is a really similar stability, or maybe like a Mercy or something like that. But as far as the feel goes, something that feels a little bit more similar would probably be like a blend Marshall, a blend Crown, or even a blend Judge. Those are the ones I would check out if I were you. So anyway, yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's check out a speak pipe question. This one is from Shay.
Shay?
Not your wife, Shay.
Okay.
Hold on, let me make sure I got the volume right.
Oh, here it is. Just back to the basket question.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Danny, for shooting this over. 805.02 disc above 2 meters. Letter C in there. It says a disc supported by the target for the hole being played is not subject to the 2 meter rule.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you.
Right there in the rule book.
Hello, Bobby. Soon to be 850 rated Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
Yeah, I am.
Nice.
Robert, too cool for 1003, so he went up 3 rating points. McCall.
We need to update
Eric, so good at disc golf. He has the design.
Let's go and update that right now.
All right. So the last ratings update, I went up to 1006, but I noticed when I was looking at it that the USDGC ratings had counted, and I averaged 1010 or 1015 or something like that at that event. They don't count towards your rating because of the some of the rules that they have there. So my rating was adjusted back down. Now it's at 1004. So it did go up 1 point, but not 3 points like we thought. So basically, I'm the worst. Take back your queso.
Yeah. No more queso. I said I'd buy queso because it went back up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Back to Shay's question.
9 courses to give him a challenge. McCabe. And of course, Danny, Anthony, and anyone else who's behind the scenes. This is Shay, still not Robert's wife, from Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
With a question about field work. Do you guys have any routines you do when out in the field that you could share with us? My current routine is to warm up with some putter up shots, then putter drives, then I go to my mids and eventually finish up with my drivers. The problem is I typically just throw for distance and also tend to get bored and distracted very easily. I do have ADHD. And that, of course, leads to sloppy form and really just wasted time and effort. So if you have anything to share, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks always for all the advice and all you do for the sport. And as always, keep it real.
Thanks, Shay. When I go do field work, it really depends on what I'm trying to work on. If it's just release points, I'll throw all my discs one after the other, after the other, and just focus on that one thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm working on a like a certain type of disc, if I'm working on my distance drivers, or if I'm working on force overs with overstable discs, then I'll just take a bunch of those type of discs out there, including the ones in my bag. But just so I have a, I guess, a repeatable shot that I can work with. The goal for me, I'll throw in one direction and kind of try and get a point where I can mark it, and then try and throw back so that I've got a decent idea of the distance I was throwing from before, without having to, remeasure, readjust, anything like that. That's what I do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't do a lot of practicing because I don't do a lot of competing. A lot of my practice is just really casual, basically playing a tournament. But I have watched a few other people's, and I know that one of the things you have to be careful is, some people, when they say they practice, like Shay said, he just goes out and throws and throws and throws for distance. And you really don't have to practice that long.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
It's more quality over quantity.
Right. I mean, don't go out there for 2 hours and just throw your shoulder out.
Mhm.
Just throwing for distance. A good 45-minute session where you're just practicing certain shots, I think, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I think about a half hour to 45 minutes is my sweet spot where I don't get super tired. Or like you said, wear your arm and shoulder and everything out, but you feel like you're getting good work done.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from Daniel from Sweden. Hello again.
Nice.
Seeing the coverage from Ledgestone made me think of a question. Why is it that the two dominant forces in disc golf, Macbeth and Wasaki, is struggling so much compared to the usual standard these guys have? I know they can still win an OB roped course like Ledgestone and USDGC.
Good question. Ledgestone and USDGC and events like it kind of just have a way of getting in your head. If you throw bad shots, you're oftentimes punished. You can even throw like a pretty good shot and just get a little unlucky and still be punished with that OB stroke or something like that. And so it can mess with you mentally. I think for this year's Ledgestone, for whatever reason, those guys just didn't quite accomplish what they were looking to do out there. Maybe they went OB a little too much. Maybe missed a few more putts than they wanted to, or something like that. But there's something different about those type of courses that make it difficult to like consistently score, like to always play well at Ledgestone or always play well at USDGC, like up there at the top level. You do have to be aggressive in order to play out there, or aggressive enough. And so I think it's just kind of difficult to manage sometimes. Anyway, yeah, that's it.
Next one is from Austin. Hey guys, my main discs is a Lucid Breakout 158, Maverick at 176. I believe an EMAC Truth Lucid have is 180 and 177. And deciding between Judge, Warden, or Deputy for my putt. Those are my main. I also have a 179 Lucid Tersis, Opto Tersis, for my
try it again. VIP.
Oh, VIP. Sorry, wrong one. For my Anheuser shots, is there any other disc you'd recommend besides the Tersis? And what putter would you recommend my putting? Still working on since only been playing for like 3 months. Now is either super straight 40% of the time, but most I always go right of the basket and miss.
Huh. Okay. That's a lot of words and not a lot of punctuation, but that's okay. So hold on. Let me read that just for a second.
Go for it.
So I guess you said the disc that you're deciding between, but didn't really say how they fly for you, which makes it kind of difficult for us to say how they should act in relation to one another. You said you're throwing a Lucid Tersis for your Anheuser shots. Are there other discs that you recommend? I think you've covered a lot of the ones that I would really like. If you're looking for something in between the Truth and the Tersis, the EMAC Truth and the Tersis, you might try an original Truth, regular old Truth. I think that's a really nice straight mid-range that's not going to go left quite as early as the EMAC Truth. You might also look into something like I think the Warship for you would probably overlap some. So I'd look into just a regular Lucid Truth, not an EMAC Truth, since you've already got one of those. And for the drivers, I think you're pretty well covered with the Breakout and Maverick. If those are going pretty straight for you, I think that's fantastic.
Excellent. Excelente. So let's do a real quick check-in of our no shave.
Yeah, for sure.
And we already know that we beat our goal by $135. We raised $1,135. That's awesome. Thank you
Fantastic,
guys so much. Let's see. There was 22 members to our team, and we raised that much money. That's excellent.
Dave crushed it.
Dave crushed it.
Dave Rotkowitz. He raised $670.
Yes, he did.
With the help of some friends.
Dave, I'm going to try to see
That's
if I can.
That's so cool,
I'm
man.
try
Thanks,
to
Dave.
reach out to you and figure out if you're listening, Dave. Email me at Bobby BOBBY at dynamicdisc.com and let me know. If not, I'm going to try to find you somewhere on Facebook or something. See if I can find and reach out to you as a thank you. I'm going to send you a little Disc Golf Answer Man goodie box.
Yeah, that's fantastic, dude. Thanks for joining our team.
Yeah, absolutely. From Ballston Spa, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dave.
I think that's where Malachi lives.
Probably. Probably.
Probably.
And we're still not done because I'm going to donate $50 to it.
Nice.
So we'll have a really good goal. That was excellent, guys. Thank you so much for doing that. We're going to do it next year, but we're going to do. Eric wants to do the Movember, which is the one
mustache only.
Yeah, you grow your mustache, and Danny's got a head start on that already. Good going,
Danny. You won't grow yours out until then.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about him.
I hope he does though.
All right, now back to the questions. This one is from Austin again. I have a disc golf engine stamp disc. Is there any way for me to mail it to DD and have you, Eric, and Robert sign it? Yep, absolutely. We can sign it for you.
Easy
peasy. Go for it. Scott Turner from St. Louis. No matter what I do, I cannot stop my forehand shots from wobbling.
Yeah, same.
I learned the forehand shot with my index finger on the rim. What am I doing wrong to cause the disc to wobble? What am I losing due to the wobble on my shots?
Nice. Thanks for the question, Scott. Okay, so a couple of things that I would do to work on this. One, I've had a friend before throw only one finger on his forehands under the rim, and he got to where he didn't have any wobble, or not very much, but it took a really long time to get there, like a really, really long time. I like having two fingers underneath, and make sure that instead of just having the pads of your finger against the underside of the disc, try and turn those a little bit more toward the rim. That allows your hand to be in more of a kind of a side-to-side motion. If you're on YouTube, you can see this, but imagine my hand, if you're not on YouTube, imagine my hand just slapping someone across the face repeatedly, slap, 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 slap. That's the motion that you're trying to get. Instead of a palm up to palm down, it really just wants to be more side-to-side and with a bias toward palm up, right? So I think two fingers with them turned toward the rim will help you some. But then I think another thing is you might not be holding the disc tight enough. If anytime I'm struggling with wobble, I'll just get a little bit better grip on the disc, not something so hard that it feels like I'm just going to bend the disc and it's never going to form back to what it was before. But try gripping the disc just a little bit tighter and start with that on short shots. Work on those. And once you can get the wobble out of those, you'll be able to work into longer shots. When you have wobble on those discs, what you asked what difference that makes. I think you're going to lose some distance on those, and you're also going to lose predictability on the angle on which you put the disc. So if a disc starts in your hand flat, but it wobbles, the angle that it ends up on may not be close to what you had intended at the beginning. So the goal is for it to come out with as little wobble as possible, and I would work on those things to try and correct that.
There you go. Every time he kept saying wobble, I kept thinking of that song, Wobble Wobble.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Wobble. I can't think of the rest. Anyway, next one is from.
That was it, pretty much.
Is that, yeah?
We might get dinged for a copyright infringement.
Probably because, yes.
It sounds so similar.
Like it. This question is from Asco. Asco is going to Asco a question.
Nice.
Hello, Disc Golf Fans and Crew. I have two questions. I currently use the Trespass as my max distance disc.
Sweet.
I bag it in Fusion, Lucid, and Lucid X. I can get up to 400 feet on a flex line, closer to 350 on golf lines. I am tempted to get something a bit more stable for stronger headwind and was wondering which would be better for my arm speed, Defender or Enforcer.
Okay. If you already really like the Trespass, I would probably go for the Enforcer first. The rim is going to feel more familiar to your hand because it is a similar width to the Trespass. The Defender is a little bit wider. And I think if you get a Biofusion Enforcer, that's going to be kind of just like the next step up from a Lucid X Trespass. So that would be the one that I would try out if you're looking for something a little bit more stable. If you try that out and it's just not close to as stable as you wanted it to be, it won't be. But just in case that happened, the Lucid Enforcer and the Fusion Enforcer are both a little bit more overstable than the Biofusion.
There you go. Second question is, if you could take one specific disc for yourself out of another player's bag, what would you take and why?
Oh, man.
I'd want to take one of Eric's nice and beat-in EMAC Truths.
Yeah, he does have some really good ones. The Kitty Cat one is that's a pretty solid one.
Hey there, kitty cat.
What?
Yeah, they want to say the other word.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We don't want to get dinged for not copyright infringement, but something else. Man, that's a really hard one. I don't know. I'd have to think on it and get back to you.
Oh, come on.
I know that Eric Oakley has a Lucid Enforcer in his bag that he's had for quite a while. like with the hand-eye satellite runner stamp.
Yeah.
It's nice and beat in. It's actually the one he went and swam for at Ledgestone because he loved it so much. That's where Loch Ness Oakley came from. It's a really, really good disc. I've thrown it once.
If we're talking outside of the disc golf answer, then like Tina Oakley, I bet you she has some nice beat-in trespasses too.
Yeah, sick. Give me that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, this is from JJ. Hey, guys, thanks for all you do for the sport. Been playing for a couple of years, more of a rec player, but I still like to play a few tournaments a year just to see how I've improved. Most tournaments I play are local, so I know a lot of people. I noticed in some tournaments that players sign up for a higher division and later move to a lower one once they notice there is more money available in the lower tiers. How do you all feel about sandbagging, and is there a way to keep it from happening? Bagger.
Okay. Well, it kind of stinks that it's sort of that player's prerogative to enter whatever division they want to. I know that there are players who
talking all that stuff about me. Is my prerogative. I know I always
all
ruin
of the copyrights.
I always ruin it when I'm sorry.
Pull out the checkbook and just get ready to write. Just check after check for this episode. When somebody signs up for a higher division and they see that there's more money in a lower one, as long as their rating is above that threshold, there's not really much you can do about it. I know that there's some like Masters guys who have that privilege, who are, still over 1,000 rated, probably going to compete in the open field, maybe win, maybe not, just depending on how they play that week. But if there's a bigger Masters field, sometimes they have a better chance of winning there. And so they'll move from open to Masters. I've seen that before. There's honestly not much you can do about it. And I think the rating system as we have it now is pretty good at keeping people in the positions that they need to be. But there's just no way you can do that. Like 100%, there is no sandbagging. I don't think that's possible.
Gotcha.
Sorry, man.
All right, let's check this one out from Laura.
Hi, Disco Lanterman crew. I'm Laura from Europe, and I have a quick question. As a female player, I was wondering which video coverage is more useful from learning point of view, the men or the female divisions. Would like to hear your thoughts on this, and have a great day.
Nice, good question.
Good question. She brings up a point, and I think maybe she brings up because I have seen people talk about the whole FPO coverage versus MPO coverage. Of course, FPO being female, MPO being male coverage. And a lot of people that are like, I want to watch the guys, I don't want to watch the women. I've seen that. But a lot of people are like, no, the pros I like to watch because I like to watch what they can do, and it's cool to watch how far they throw, how amazing, things like that. But the female side is more along the lines of an average man's throw. Now, I'm not comparing, and hopefully it doesn't sound sexist or whatever, but
I wouldn't say average male throw. I think a lot of that's the assumption that most guys can throw 350, 380 like these ladies can, and I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of them throw not as far as them.
Oh, okay.
But like say like advanced level golfers to there's some intermediate guys that'll throw about that same distance, but yeah, to the advanced level, I think their distances off the tee are similar. I think their accuracy is probably a lot different.
Yes,
but I get what you're saying.
Right, but like if you're watching the Ricky Wysocki's and Macbeths and all those people, they're going to those par threes and they're getting twos a lot, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas the FPOs are going to be hitting those par threes with a 3, the par 4s, they're going to get a 4.
Sure.
And so I think that people can, a lot more viewers, I'll say, can relate to the performance that the female side has to. I wonder if that's what Laura is kind of getting to.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. If you're learning form, there are some people who have good form and they would have good form whether they were males or females. It doesn't matter. Obviously I think Paige Pierce has fantastic form. She throws farther than, most guys out there. And I know that you hear us say that and you're like, oh, okay. But they're just like, hyping up their player. 100% when Paige and I go play, she will throw farther than me on half the holes, if not more. She just throws far, plain and simple.
Oh no. Yeah.
And she has really good, compact and efficient form. And I think there are other females that do as well that we could learn a lot from. I really like Paige Bjerkes' form. Cause she just gets up there and throws and there's not a lot of wasted motion. I think those are fantastic. when I am looking to work on my form, I like to try and find someone whose body looks like mine. So I'm not going to get a whole lot necessarily from watching somebody like a Will Schustrick, right? Who is 6'3" and has, pretty long arms, really flexible. I'm not going to get a whole lot of that other than the principles because my body just doesn't look like that. I will not ever be able to pull back or reach back as far as he can. Right. I won't ever be able to get my arm as far behind me as he can.
I try to do that too, but there's not a lot of Mr. Olympia people in disc golf, so it's kind of hard to compare.
That's right.
They don't have the Lou Ferrignos and the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, correct.
So it's kind of hard for me to follow
a bit
that.
Of a disadvantage.
Right.
We should find one of those for this 850 bet just for you. But anyway, in general, I like to try and find someone whose body is pretty similar to my shape and kind of see how they do it and see if there's something I can learn from that. I do like watching those guys who have really, really good form, whose bodies are completely different from mine because there are principles that are universal, I think, for everybody.
If you like my body and
dude,
you
keep it coming.
Sexy,
all episode.
Come on, baby.
Let's go.
No. Okay. December means cold weather, means not a lot of parts of the country can get out and play disc golf. So how do you maintain your form, especially when it comes to one of the most important aspects of your game, and that's putting? One of the ways to do that is the Winter Marksman League, and they are going on strong. Last I looked, there was 80 registered events, and this is where you have a marksman basket mixed in with other baskets, and you have a organized putting league in a sense. And we have packages for you guys to get. You can order those. You can charge people to come play, and then they have a chance to win prizes such as a marksman basket. So those will start they've already started going, right, as far as playing. Mm-hmm. And in fact, me and I think Roberts decided to go out to Lawrence, Kansas on December 12th. So if you're in that area, come on out and say hello to the Disc Golf Answer Man crew. Danny's going to go out there. He's going to play around and help me do some filming so we can make some promos. But we're going to go out there and have some fun. DZ Discs has something really special planned for us when we go out there, so it's really cool. But if you want more information about running one or seeing if one is in your area, go to dynamicdiscs.com/WML. That's Winter Marksman League, WML. All right, next question comes from the runner who wants to disc.
I can dig it, man.
He says, hi, I'm a very active sports family and disc golf a lot, but since disc golf is still growing, my parents do not yet consider it a full-time sport.
What?
Shame on them. This leads to my question because cross country is considered a sport and disc golf is not. My parents would never support me if I decided to quit running to disc golf. What do you think I should do about this situation? I think you should move out and irreconcilable differences. Just file for
irreconcilable differences.
No, I mean, you can't fault really the parents because maybe they may have never even heard of disc golf, or when they heard of frisbee golf or disc golf back in the day. The whole stigma of it's just a bunch of hippies, I'm sure it was prevalent back in those days as well as they are now. I don't know how much money you could make in cross country running.
Sure.
So I can't imagine you're going to turn down thousands and thousands of dollars by doing disc golf rather than cross country.
Sure. I think it depends on what you're doing the sport for, right? Are you getting into it to make money, or are you getting into it to enjoy yourself? If you're getting into it to enjoy yourself, then, you may have to buy your own equipment. You said if you said your parents aren't going to support it or whatever. But I don't think there's anything stopping you from doing what you want to do. Now, you say a full-time sport. If you're trying to drop everything and go on tour, we've talked about that before. You need to be an elite disc golfer with a decent bit of money saved so that when you get out there and things don't go as planned, you are not up a creek without a paddle. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next one comes from Trevor. I am right-handed forehand drive dominant player. I average around 300 feet with good accuracy on these shots. I use Destroyer, Boss, Thunderbirds depending on distance needed. I've been working on developing my forehand and hyzer shot. I do field work with all my frisbees to get used to them, but the one struggle I get with hard forehand and hyzers is I get a cut rollback to the right when it comes back to the ground. My backhand is not nearly as developed, 160 to 170 feet. disc recommendations?
Great question. Okay. If you are throwing destroyers, bosses, and thunderbirds, depending on distance, and you've been working on your forehand and hyzer, and those discs are cut, like going into the ground and cutting, like cut rolling, then I don't think there's a disc that is going to work for you that will keep you from cut rolling, because those are pretty overstable discs across the board. What you need to work on instead of, it sounds like what you're doing is trying to muscle over something overstable. Instead, you want to learn to throw a forehand with something pretty neutral, straight. And so from our lineup, a disc that I would advise you to try out would be like an Escape or a Convict, something like that. That's a little bit more neutral. At first, you are going to flip it over all day, every day, and you're going to be very frustrated. But if you can learn to release that with just a little bit of hyzer, get it to flip up to flat, and then ride to the left, that's the sort of flight that you want to look for. If you're, like I said, if you're throwing destroyers, bosses, thunderbirds, and they're all cut rolling, you are forcing them over too much. That's plain and simple. That's what you're doing. Thank you.
All right. Next question is from Oklahoma. The state of Oklahoma now plays disc golf. The wind thrusting through the. I'm from there, not from there, but I've lived there a long time.
It does talk about the wind and the plane.
Listen to the wind.
You're pretty close.
His question, Oklahoma.
Riveting lyrics, by the way.
That gives you just so much, yeah. When using a power grip while driving, how are you squeezing the rim? Do you squeeze the rim into your palm with all 4 fingers, or mainly focus on the pinch between pointer and thumb, just using the other 3 fingers to stabilize, or some way completely different? Any insight would be appreciated.
Let me think. Excuse me.
Oh, he's getting an example.
Okay, so let me read what he's asking again. You squeeze your rim into the palm with. I think I'm more squeezing up and down with my thumb and index finger. Like I'm kind of pinching in between those two, but it's not only this, like just pinch between those 2 fingers. That index finger and the others kind of roll the disc back into the palm of my hand. That's how I throw. So it's less of the up and down tension as it is pulling the disc into your hand. So you're basically pulling into the rim instead of the flight plate. I think that answers your question. I don't know. I definitely feel the most force into my palm from that starts from my index finger.
Got it?
Yeah.
And just in case for our audio listeners, he was using, for an example, a Dymax Judge, where it has the full Disc Golf Answerman logo stamp on there. Or not stamp, I'm sorry, Dymax. Those are available right now at dynamicdisc.com. Shameless plug.
Hashtag ad.
Yeah. Next one is from Sam. Sam I Am.
Hello, Bobby Cool
Hello.
Guy, Slick Breeze, Robert Whathair McCall, and Eric Emac McCabe. My name's Sam Spearing, PDG number 45842 from St. Thomas, Ontario. I just have a quick question. I've recently been able to start throwing over 400 feet backhand, maxing out pure distance around 425-ish. And I've been doing that with fairway drivers, like 9-10 speeds. I'm wondering if I'm throwing that distance, does that actually mean that I have the arm speed to move up to those 12-speed discs that I've been avoiding, just to be able to actually learn to throw properly? I did throw a couple of my 12 speeds and did notice I had to flex them over a little bit more, but I'm just wondering if that's normal. How do you guys throw so far? But thank you guys so much for what you do growing the sport and having this podcast. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you again. All right. Bye.
That's a solid finish there.
I do not throw far, so I will allow Robert.
You're going to recuse yourself from the conversation. If you're throwing fairway drivers around that 400 mark, that means that you are doing some things right, probably a lot of things right, to tell you the truth. I think the question that you need to look at when you're throwing the 12 speed, the 13 speed, and higher is that if you have even just a little bit of nose up angle and those discs are flying a similar if the drivers are flying a similar distance for you as your fairway drivers, there's a decent chance that your nose angle is not great, that it's a little too nose up. So while you may have the power and spin to throw them farther, if you don't have that nose angle, it's not going to make much of a difference. If you're throwing, I think he said an enforcer. If you're throwing an enforcer and having to start it on an anhyzer, yes, you're immortal. Most everybody doesn't start an enforcer flat and allow it to move to the right on its own. It's a really overstable disc. But you might try, something like a trespass and see if you can't throw it a little more on a similar fashion to your fairway drivers and see if it doesn't act similar or something like that. I don't know. If that nose angle is good, you should have speed enough to get into the higher speed drivers. If it's not, I think you'll find similar distances from your fairways as your distance drivers.
Next one comes from Dave. My current go-to driver is a 171 Gold Line Saint. I can throw it exactly how the numbers indicate it and work it every which way. What disc and plastic in the DD line would be the closest comparison to this disc?
Dave, you're looking for a Fusion Escape is the answer. Pretty similar disc.
I even thought of that too.
Yeah. Nice. Dude, I'm proud of you. You did it. Very similar numbers, very similar flight paths. Plain and simple, that's the answer. Next question.
All right, I wasn't ready for it.
Well, next question.
Next question comes from... Oh, Dave has another question.
Oh, what's up?
Hi, team. You're doing an awesome job. I watch all your videos, and you've definitely helped my game a ton. I have a question about your Is This Disc Right For You videos. I've noticed that the majority of the discs you throw in these videos are in the lucid plastic. Is there any reason for this? I'm just curious. Keep up the great work. Yes, there is, Dave. If you're not familiar with the Is This Disc Right For You, that's a series we started probably like 3 years ago, where me and Eric McCabe and sometimes a few other people, we will show you how, when we get a new disc, how it throws for myself, a casual disc golfer, and a pro disc golfer. And the thinking is that you'll find yourself somewhere in between what I'm throwing and how Eric McCabe is throwing. Some people suggested that we have other people throw, and I'm thinking, what are we going to have, like 5 different people throw? That's going to be a 50, 20-minute long video. Anyway, the reason that those are always lucid is because lucid plastic is the first plastic we always... Usually.
Yeah.
Is when it's a stock stamp release, first out mold, it's going to be in the lucid plastic. So, of course, we want to get as much information out as possible when something is first released. So that's why we use the lucid plastic. So good question.
That is for... mids, fairways, and drivers. Putters usually come out in classic or classic blend.
Correct.
Or something.
Make sure you're subscribed to youtube.com/dynamic disc because once the weather gets nice, of course, we're going to have the new discs that are coming out for 2019. We're going to do.
We got some good ones.
And then the team series discs, we're going to continue with that, which is the ones that are in the Lucid X. So we're going to actually do some of that with that so you can see how those fly. It's just a little bit different and how the feel is a little bit different.
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
Yeah. All
right. So Dave is cashing in on everything he can. He's got another question. Can you talk about the difference between the Maverick,
you put an apostrophe between A's there.
The Maverick and the Thief for an intermediate player? Is it necessary to bag both these discs or just one? Same question for the Getaway and the Convict. Should an intermediate player bag just one of these discs or both? Thinking about my bag on each side of the fairway driver stability spectrum. I'll tell you from my point of view, which is probably closer to intermediate.
Yeah.
The Maverick and the Thief to me are similar.
Yeah.
But the Thief will turn a little bit more. To me, it feels a little more understable. So if I've got a Thief that I've had for a while and it's slightly beat in and I really give about 80% of a throw, it's going to turn quite a bit. Whereas the Maverick will turn, but to me, it's not going to turn quite as much, and it's actually going to glide a little bit farther.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
I think so, yeah. For me, the thing that I always notice for a brand new Maverick and
for me, it's about hanging out with friends. Oh, sorry.
Never mind. The Thief, I think, brand new out of the box, starts with that turn, but then kind of finishes to the left. For me, the Maverick out of the box turns a little bit to the right and then just stays right or finishes kind of straight. So I think the Thief has a little bit more turn and a little bit more fade.
Okay.
I like the Maverick because it's like pretty point and shoot. You aim and throw it, and that's where it goes. If you want to turn it to the right, at least when I do, give it a little extra juice, it'll move to the right pretty reliably. I like that a lot. Same kind of goes for the Getaway and Convict. They're really similar. I think the Convict has a little more early turn, and they probably have similar fades. So if it was me, I probably wouldn't carry both the Getaway and the Convict, although I carry like 3 Getaways right now, and one of them probably acts pretty similar to a Convict. And so if it's a mold that you like, yeah, carry both. Do your thing.
Oh, no, Dave has got one more question.
One more. Well, we don't know. It may be a lot more.
Let me see if there's another one from Dave. See if we. Okay, yeah, Dave.
No, the next one is from Bill. That's definitely. Unless Dave was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw him off. Change my name on here.
If you had to build a bag for an intermediate player just using DD discs, which would you put in the bag?
Oh gosh. Kind of depends on how far you throw. But let's say you're around that 350 foot range. I'd probably throw a Lucid Trespass in there for your pretty overstable stuff. Maybe something like a Renegade would be pretty straight for you, or even get a little bit of turn. I would definitely recommend that you try out both the Maverick and the Escape. I think they're both great shot shapers and good speeds that are friendly for almost any arm speed. When you get down to mid-ranges, I would like an EMAC Truth for something relatively overstable for that arm speed. Maybe a regular Truth for straight shots, and then a Warrant that would move to the right. And then for your putters, it really that's all personal preference. I like the Warden a lot. Eric likes the Judge a lot. Bobby likes the Deputy a lot. We could just debate on that probably all day, but those are the ones I'd start off with.
Bill asks, people say driveways. People say
driveway farers.
Yeah. People say fairway drivers are great when you need more control compared to distance drivers. What exactly do you mean by the word control? Control.
We're on one today
Control.
with
You know who sings that?
No.
Really?
Who is it?
YouTube chat people. Let me know if you know what song I'm referring to when I say control.
I can't imagine that the song sounds exactly like that, though.
There's a part that
Does
sounds
it?
pretty close. Anyway, what exactly do you mean by the word control? Is it accuracy in hitting gaps, less fade and skip, more comfortable grip? It handles slight errors in nose angle / hyzer angle more easily? Thanks. What does it mean by control?
Yeah.
Control.
Zach says Janet Jackson.
Boom. Zach, you got it.
Okay, well, Zach, you win a virtual high five from Bobby. And you also win the hope that he never sings it to you again. We'll see. Bill, I think actually all the things that you said there are what I talk about when I say more control. I like that with a fairway driver, it's not spinning quite as fast as a distance driver, so it's easier to keep on line. I like that the rim is a little bit smaller in my hand. It makes me feel like I have more control over the disc. Less turn, less fade. I think that's what we mean when we say control.
All right, Pat asks, I recently threw a shot where part of the outside of my brace foot landed just over the end of the tee pad. I wasn't sure if I had just committed a foot fault. No one on my card said anything, and we all started to walk down the fairway. Is it a foot fault if you step on or over the end of the tee pad before releasing the disc?
Good question, Pat. It all really depends on the tee pad. Okay. So the rule reads as all supporting points have to be in contact with the tee pad when the disc is released. So if you throw off of just one foot, you could pick another foot up from off of the ground, in front of the tee pad, however it is, as long as all your supporting points are on the tee pad. If you get up to the front of the tee pad and it's elevated above the ground a little bit and you step off the side, but your foot is not touching the ground, you're good to go. If it's pretty much flush with the ground and part of your foot is on the ground while you're throwing, yes, that's a foot fault. Now, in your case, if that happened and you weren't sure if it was a foot fault or not, and nobody on your card said anything, it's as if it didn't happen because it needs to be called in real time. You can't go back and call it later. So That's it.
Josh asks, what non-beaded putter in the DD line would you recommend as a great go-to every putter? Would this recommend every putter?
Every putter.
Every putter putting. Would this recommendation change if you were inside or slightly outside the circle? Also, what plastic would you recommend for this putter?
Josh, I am so glad that you asked. Let me tell you about my favorite disc. It's the
Let me
Warden.
tell you about my best friend.
we got the karaoke machine here
I know,
today.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did karaoke last weekend.
Yeah, I saw you crushed it.
How'd you see?
Snapchat.
Oh, who snapped it?
Can't tell you.
Who did it?
Can't tell you.
Why?
Kevin.
Kevin did
Yeah.
it? Nice.
That was pretty great.
I love me some karaoke.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
All right, anyway, sorry.
Some Coldplay is what I saw.
Yes.
Paradise?
Paradise. Paradise. Okay,
well, yeah,
stop.
but way higher though. And you were on it. You were on it. I
much
heard
higher.
it. I remember it. Don't do
yeah.
it right now.
Oh, the
'cause,
oohs at
Yeah.
the end. I
Mhm.
was
You were
not.
killing it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I even got a high five from the bartender.
Yeah.
He just wanted more tips, but he high fived me.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I really like the Warden because it's got, I think, a really usable stability. Not extremely overstable, but not understable either. Just nice and neutral to slightly overstable. I love it inside the circle and outside. I putt with classic Wardens. I think it's a really good putter for something like that. But we have a lot of putters that are really versatile in that way. The Judge is similar, but slightly more overstable.
Yeah, but it's beaded.
It is beaded. Oh, non-beaded. Sorry,
Yeah,
I missed
non-beaded.
that part.
Yep.
The Deputy is a little bit more understable than the Warden. Similar feel in the hand, probably slightly shallower than the Warden. But it's going to be maybe even a hair straighter on putts. Won't move as much to the left as a Warden once it slows down. But I'd say those are pretty similar.
Excellent.
But try a Warden, seriously. I know I joke about it a lot and be like, Team Warden over everything else. They're all the worst. But truly, it's my favorite disc. I love it.
Next one is from Alexis.
Hey, Bobby, Robert, and Eric. My name is Alexis, and I live in the LA area.
Nice.
Today, I went for my first round on a very heavy wind day, and I saw that my discs were doing all sorts of crazy things out there. So I was wondering, what is something on the DD lineup that you guys would recommend for heavy winds? Most of my drivers are Innova for no particular reason, and I'm starting to use a little bit more DD, little by little, adding some of your discs to my lineup, and I actually just got a bag from you guys that I'm loving.
Nice.
So yeah, what are some of the discs that you would recommend the most for heavy wind days? I usually throw drivers between 12 and 13 speed. So any help you guys can give me, that would be greatly appreciated. Keep up the good work. The work that you guys are doing for the sport is truly amazing. And I can't wait to see what this, upcoming season has in store for your guys' offerings. So thank you very much. And yeah, look forward to hearing back.
Excellent.
What do you got for him, Robert?
If it's windy, we have two offerings in that speed range that I think you'll like a whole lot. They are the Enforcer and the Defender. The Enforcer is a 12 speed. The Defender is a 13. Pretty similar stability at the speed range that most normal people throw. And so if it's windy, they're going to be plenty overstable enough to handle the wind, make sure and get to the left. You can even probably start them over a little bit and let them finish to the left. If you're not throwing them farther than about 400, 420, 430 feet, somewhere in there, you're not going to notice a lot of difference in the stability between those discs. And so you honestly can't really go wrong. There you go.
Honestly.
I don't know why I had to say honestly. I wouldn't lie on the show anyway,
Good.
but just in case.
All right, let's get to the next question. We still got still got time. Let's see. Can you talk about which of your DD plastic? Oh, I'm sorry. This is from Anthony. Anthony, you can just ask this right now. Can you talk about which of your DD plastics is considered a premium plastic and which are considered your base plastics? Money aside, why would anyone buy a disc made from basic plastic? What's the trade-off between premium and base? So in the DD lineup, premium plastic is going to be your Lucid and your Fusion. That's going to be your premium plastics. And then your base plastic is going to be, for DD, is going to be the classic soft, classic blend, and then prime.
Yeah. And then
Right.
Bio's kind of like in the middle.
Biofusion is basically a regrind. If we have Lucid discs and Fusion discs and whatever that don't quite, are too heavy or something went wrong, they put it in what they call, I think they call the Green Monster, and it just chomps it up, and then they take that and they use that plastic to create biofusion plastic. So it's not really a premium, but it's made of premium, but because it's like a second generation, I guess it's not. Anyway, so why would anybody want to buy base plastic? Well, a lot of people, you're going to find it in the putters mostly because of the grip, the feel in your hand, the grippiness in your hand, and then, of course, the grippiness toward the chains, because a lot of people feel that the Fusion or the Lucid plastic is going to slide off the chains a little bit easier, and you want that grip. Some people, depending on the weather, if it's raining, like that prime grippiness, I mean, I think that's kind of it, unless I probably forgot maybe a reason.
I like the grip in my hand on base plastic a little bit more. I like that it'll beat in a little bit faster, but I don't think that, I mean, I don't mind having beat in putters. Some people like really new ones all the time, like Eric trades his putters out all the time. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just the difference between putting putters and throwing putters. I want my throwing putters to stay the same as long as possible.
Right.
So,
and I know a lot of people, I've seen people make comments where, and they are like brand new to disc golf, so new, and they're like, I got all these dings in my putters and stuff, and it's like, well, that's what happens, but don't worry, it's just giving your putter some character.
Yeah,
obviously, as long as it's not a huge gash or something like that, but a lot of people like to beat in their putters to just the way they want it. Let's see, this one is from Yelty. He says, hi, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. Eric, awesome 18 holes course you got there. McCabe and perfect voiceover. Voice Robert McCall.
Ah, yes. I love voicing things over.
And over and over. I want to do
one man, one mission.
Oh, wait. Ready? Let's do it. Ready?
Yeah,
turn up the bass.
Crank that bass up.
Okay, go.
One man, one mission. Mission Impossible, live in theaters.
Okay, we're probably blowing out people's bass.
December 23rd.
He's Yelty. I want a new backpack because my L64 a luxury E3 is going into a Zuka or a DDLG cart. A lot of people do that. It's a good idea.
Nice.
I've seen a few Dutch disc golfers with the regular DD Ranger, but I'm more interested in the Ranger H2O. Could you describe the pros and cons of both bags? I'd like to hear this from you guys. Thanks in advance. Keep it real and keep it going. So real quick, the biggest difference between a Ranger and a Ranger H2O is the title. There's an H and a 2. No, it
is that we call them different things.
So the Ranger H2O has a ABS plastic. I think it's ABS. I can't remember the exact acronym or whatever, but it's a molded bottom. So the rubbing and stuff against the ground are the main reason, so the bag doesn't get wet. It's just the plastic part.
Yep.
And then it has a bladder in there. I can't remember how many ounces, 50 ounce, 50.
Yep.
A bladder in one of the pockets in the back, and it actually has a straw that goes into the shoulder strap, and you can drink from it right there. It also has a rain fly that goes on there. And then what else makes it H2O? I can't remember.
It's pretty much just the waterproof thing and then the bladder thing.
Yeah.
But then the molded bottom also has slots in it for discs to sit.
Oh yeah, to sit. So really I don't know the pros and cons. The pros I've heard of the H2O is obviously the things I mentioned. The cons is it is a little heavier.
Yep.
So from the get-go, it's a little heavier than a regular Ranger bag. Other than that, I don't know that there's a lot of.
I think you can hold
Can you hold
similar amount of discs in the
depending on your mid to driver and stuff like that?
I think it's pretty similar. Maybe a couple more in the H2O, but I think they're pretty similar. Yeah. I prefer the Ranger because it's lighter to carry, but I have used the H2O before and used the bladder, and it's like a revelation. It's so great that you don't have to pull out a water bottle. You're set.
No, I don't know. I don't know where you're going to buy it from. But right now at the DD store, the Ranger H2O is normally $224.99, and it's marked down at $179.99. So a really good price.
You're not going to see them cheaper than that.
Now, depending on when you hear this, I can't guarantee that will be the price. So do not send me a message saying you tried to buy it. It's not that price anymore. I am not guaranteed that price. I only know at this very second when I'm looking at it, that is the price. All right, next one comes from Carly. My wife is a standstill thrower, and when she throws, drives or upshots, she will lean her right shoulder back, leading her to throw her shots right. What are some tips or drills to keep her shoulders in line with her body during her shot? My biggest advice would be to tell her to stop leaning.
That's like, and what about Bob? Stop it.
Was like when I was a kid, it hurts when I do that. Well, then don't do that.
Then don't do that.
No, for real. What advice would you give her, Robert?
Man, I don't know
So maybe my advice was good advice.
That's pretty good. If your shots are being pulled right because your shoulder is it too high? Is that lean her right shoulder back? I don't really know what drill to suggest. I would suggest filming her throwing and then showing her what it looks like so that she can say, oh, well, that feels like this. Let me adjust it so that it feels a little bit different. I think that's the best way to make changes in your throw is to film and then kind of reassess, try it again, film, reassess.
Definitely. I mean, if you haven't, if you haven't told her about it, or I'm sorry, you've probably told her about it, but I don't know your all's relationship, but I do know a relationship between men and women, and maybe you're trying to convey this to her and she doesn't realize she's doing it, and she may not want to get your advice, but if you were to film it and show it and say, here, this is what I'm talking about, maybe she'll realize that she's doing it. Maybe she can kind of correct it on her own, not realizing how much she's doing that. Next one is from Trevor. I'm a forehand. Wait.
Yeah.
Did he already ask this one?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm a forehand dominant player. I have always done forehand drives, 280 to 320 on flat ground. I have various drivers that work for forehand, but my driving backhand has always been inconsistent and much shorter, about 150 to 180 on flat ground. What discs would you recommend to improve backhand drives? I've tried Archangel and Beast. Do I just need to practice backhand with mid-range / putters to improve my backhand? I putt and mid-range backhand.
What was that?
I putt backhand?
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone putts backhand.
Oh, that's considered backhand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is always forehand. This is backhand. Oh. You're saying like your putting motion. Yeah. It's like the very end of a backhand throw or something.
I gotcha.
You're going to want to try something that is more understable if you are working on your backhand. And you might even, it depends on how far you throw it. Like you said, if you're going around 150 to 180, you might try like a diamond or a jade, something even like in that super lightweight class, just so that you could turn it to the right and see what a full flight looks like. Once you're past that, I think some really great discs are like the Latitude 64 has two that I really like, the Maul and the Fury. They're both pretty understable, the Maul more so than the Fury. A step up from the Diamond and the Jade for sure, but something that you can throw a little bit straighter. And if those are moving too much to the right for you eventually, I would step up to a Maverick. I think that's a really good kind of neutral flyer for most everybody. It'll be a little bit overstable at the distance that you're talking about right now.
Excellent. Next one is from Josh.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man. My name's Josh Teagarden. I'm from Indiana. I've been playing for about 7 years, and I finally decided to switch my entire bag over to Trilogy Plastics.
Yes.
Now, there is one blemish in that, and that is the McPro Rock 3 from Innova. I cannot seem to find something to put in that spot. Do you have any ideas for a mid-range that I can beat into straight and then one I can beat into understable? Or a disc that could work in all three of those spots? Just let me know. Thank you so much. Love what you guys are doing. You rock.
Great question.
No, you rock.
No, you rock. It depends on what you're looking for in a disc. If you want the disc to feel just like a rock, maybe just like a rock, I don't think we have anything that's like, wow, this is exactly like a rock. Discs that feel similar would be the Latitude 64 Mace and then the Latitude 64 Anchor. And one that I've seen a lot of players cycle is the Latitude 64 Retro Anchor. So it's more of a base plastic mid-range. And it's still pretty overstable out of the box like anchors are, but you can work them into straight and then work them into throw it on a hyzer and let it turn to the right on its own. That would be the one that I would check out if you're looking for something that feels similar. It's going to take a minute to break in, so don't expect it on day 1 or 2 to be really straight. It's going to be pretty overstable for a little bit.
All right, guys. Well, that's all the time we have for the audio section of our podcast. YouTubers, you guys hang on. We'll hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. So if you guys want to be part of the show, make sure if you can tune in on Tuesday, roughly around 1:30, 2 p.m. Central. come join us on YouTube so we can hang out a little bit. But for the audio listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you head out to discgolfanchorman.com, send in your questions. Go to dynamicdisc.com/WML for that Winter Marksman League.
Yeah, don't miss out on those.
Yeah, those are going to be really good. And thank you again so much for your participation in the No Shave November. It was awesome to raise funds for the event. We got 1,185, which we surpassed our goal of 1,000. So next year we'll do it again with Movember, and we'll see if we can up that goal and see if we can hit the goal.
We'll all wear aviators around everywhere.
Yes.
And it's going to be great.
Anything else we need to mention for the podcast, Roberto?
Not for the time being.
I don't think there's going to be a whole lot. Hopefully the weather holds out, and we'll do some hops and Heisers on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that it's been confirmed, right? Paige Pierce is coming to Emporia.
Oh, yeah. She's going to do an in-store signing this Friday.
Yeah. So we'll probably go live and have fun with that. So make sure you're subscribed on youtube.com/dynamicdiscs.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I can talk her into doing a disc golf answer, man.
We'll see.
We'll have to see. I know
she's pretty stubborn, so who knows? You know what I mean?
I know she's making a kind of a trail through places in Kansas. Where's she headed to on her way to go?
I think she's flying out of Kansas City after she's here to go overseas, as far as I know.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next episode.